there is no such group as the Indian women. There are groups and groups and groups. And it is difficult, in fact it is impossible to talk about status of women, status of Indian women as such. People see some things and draw conclusions. There were a lot of people who said, you have a woman prime minister, the whole country is being ruled by a woman, there has never been any opposition to her on the ground of her sex. The very fact that the people accepted her so readily as prime minister shows that the position of women in this country is that of an equal. People also see a very large number of women now in the universities, in the public services. So everybody tends to believe that there has been a revolution in the position of women in this country. It's a fact. 50 years back, none of this was there. But with all these gains, we, the visible women of India, we constitute a very small minority. And most of us come from types of families where women were in a subjugated position, restricted, confined, without any equal rights. Therefore, for us, there has been a complete transformation of our lives. A lot of options have opened up. But we were never a majority. The differences are, well, I can only call them class differences. There is not much difference between a Hindu upper class woman, a Muslim upper class woman, and a Christian upper class woman. There will be certain varying degree of what we call parda, seclusion. But basically, their roles, their traditional roles, the values that they are expected to practice, and their position within the family and in the community are very, very similar. Then if you look at the modern middle class, the educated, you can't distinguish between me and my friend Sakina Hassan, who sat on the committee along with me. She is a Muslim, I am a Hindu. We had a Christian also on the committee. You can't distinguish. Look at us, you talk to us. We live identical manner of lives. And there isn't any difference in our values also. Because this again is a homogeneous group now, the educated urban middle class, whatever religious background they come from. And another great equalizer and homogenizer is poverty. Below the poverty line, it doesn't make the slightest difference which religion you follow. Well, that's where the shock came. We went into the inquiry with the assumption that the entire process of development, and particularly the new rights which came after independence, had changed women's position for the better, and we would find a general, even if it was slow, gradual, but a general improvement. What shook us was that we found the trend, the average trend in the case of the vast millions of women was just for the opposite. It was a decline. The only explanation possible is that the pattern of economic modernization that is going on for the last 150 years or so the increasing commercialization of the economy, the changeover from the subsistence level village community to the widening up of the economy, the increasing entry of capital into the entire production and marketing process, and the increasing value of wealth as a hallmark of your social status. All these things have affected women. Improvement in the health services would necessarily mean more health care for the woman. And this has operated as expected in the case of the middle class, particularly the urban middle class women. We are certainly far healthier now than our mothers were. We get much more medical attention. But in the case of the poor, both in the urban as well as in the rural areas, there is an increasing difference in access to health services between men and women. And this is very clearly visible from a few illustrations, you know. Now, kwashiorkor, one of the diseases caused by malnutrition. All the studies that have been done have shown that the incidence is higher among girls. But when we checked up hospital admissions for kwashiorkor, the predominant majority of cases are boys. Either the girls are just not being brought for treatment, or even at the level of diagnosis it is being neglected. And apart from this particular disease, in which case a special study was done, our nutritional specialists have now found from all their investigations that the incidence of malnutrition is much higher among girls and women. It looks like that. We can't certainly turn back the pace of development. You see, in the last few years, because we've been pointing these out, some of us have been accused of being anti-development. But we are certainly not talking against development. But what we are saying is that those who plan and those who implement development have to admit certain realities. One of the realities is that there is an inequality between men and women in our society, and I think in most other third world countries. And what exactly is the nature of that inequality? Where did traditional society place its women? What kind of guarantees and protections did traditional society provide to its women? Since we can no longer maintain those guarantees and protections, we can't go on clinging to tradition, we can't go back over the years. But the new society that is coming into existence as a result of modernization and development must think in terms of alternative guarantees and protections.